the Dream Decipherer, and I help you to crack the code of your sleep and dreams so that you can sleep sound and dream deep. I can't believe it. It's actually my 20th show this evening, my 20th live, 20th episode. And it's been absolutely wonderful. I've really enjoyed myself working with people's dreams. And I'd just like to, before I start, invite you to share your dreams. If there's a dream that you have that you'd like some guidance for, you can get in contact with me. Send me a personal message via Messenger, and I will happily go through your dream on air, anonymously, of course, to give you some tips to help you crack the code. But in any case, I hope you've been finding these lives about these different dreams entertaining and also useful in terms of helping you to figure out how to look at your own dreams and crack the code within them. So there's two dreams this evening. They were, again, came in close sequence to one another and were reported together. The first one is a quite short dream, and the dreamer has made a robot out of a mechano set. Now, I know that's something that's very well known here in the UK and maybe in other places as well. But the mechano sets that you could build movable part robots or toys of different kinds, whatever you wanted. Now, this robot that the dreamer made could move into 3 positions, all of which involve standing up with the arms extended, or the arms raised, rather. And the dreamer judged them to be quite sophisticated. Then that's the end of the first dream. Very, very short dream, but never be fooled by so-called short dreams. It's those short dreams that pack a lot of information in a very small space. Think of it as something like I don't know. I mean, think of it as the sound bite. You could look at it that way. That a short dream often acts like a sound bite and packs a lot of information into a small period of time, so to speak. So that was dream number 1. Now for dream number 2, the dreamer went to a martial arts competition, in particular capoeira, and went to this competition led by the master of the group and a group of another master who was there to compete. And there was a bit of a dispute between these two groups. The visiting group of the other second master had some of his students made the remark that, well, we'll play our musical instruments. This particular form of martial arts, capoeira, does use music and percussion to keep the rhythm, but that's for another. But these couples decided that they needed to play the music because their instruments were better, or their playing was better. In the meantime, as these two groups are preparing to compete against one another, there is a third master there who's putting together his musical instrument, his berimbau. So for whatever reason, the dreamer was in a bad mood and wasn't talking very much, and people were starting to notice that he wasn't, I guess, being his normal self, and were expressing concern as to and wanted to know perhaps what was going on with him. During this time, the dreamer had found some music and to put on while they're getting ready for this competition to begin. And he happened to find a CD by Bjork called Violently Happy in a CD player and put that on to play. And he ends the dream by saying it seemed fitting that this particular song was played, and there the dream ends. Now, I had to admit, Bjork isn't generally on my music menu, but I did have to do a bit of research and actually listen to the music, and I'll get to that in a little bit. But let's look at these dreams and see what's going on with them and what connections they may have to one another. The first dream talks about building a mechanical robot. Um, so there's an implication there, perhaps doing things in a mechanical way or doing things by rote. So it's there's not much thought behind it. It's just kind of mechanistic in nature. It's interesting that this robot, this mechano robot, has only 3 movements, all of which are upright with the arms raised. Now, there's only so many directions that the human arms can move itself, so that and so I can only assume that it's in those 3 different positions, or well, there's actually 4, but 3 positions that you can comfortably do with the arms raised, that this robot was able to do. But was there something else, perhaps, that differentiated these 3 moves of this robot? I mean, one thing I thought of is that you have the arms outstretched like a crucifixion. You have your arms upright like you're you're being held up, and you have your arms going straight back somehow. So I just wondered what these 3 movements, arm movements, were, and what they might mean to the dreamer. Now, the other thing that the dreamer said that the felt that this robot was, what means appearance, was it because it could be moved into 3 different positions? What made it sophisticated? Now, I'm sure there were a number of adults that like things like Meccano sets and toy cars and all kinds of things. But I just wonder if that Meccano set may touch upon something with regard to the dreamer's younger days when he was a child. Maybe not, but it's interesting and to know what age the dreamer was in this dream. Was he actually an adult, or was he a child building this Meccano unit? And that maybe provide some clues as to what this is actually about. If so, what I would ask the dreamer to think about, if he was younger than his current age, how old was he with building this Meccano? And what does that evoke when you think about that? Or if he was at his current age, what does it remind him of, perhaps from his past, and how does it make him feel? So that's the first dream. And we'll move on to the second dream. Now, as I said, I had to do a little bit of research about this particular piece of music by Bjork, and I'll come back to that. But there's this capoeira roda, this circle or competition that's going on with one master and a large group from another master, whose capoeira name actually is Fantasma, or Ghost. This guy this particular capoeira master happens to be white British, who went and learned capoeira in Brazil and became a master. And if I've gotten that one wrong, then I'm sure one of my fellow capoeiristas will probably correct me, but never mind. So it was um, capoeira, one capoeira group, and this other group. Now, there was a naturally with the two groups competing, that there would be some friendly or maybe not so friendly banter between the two groups. And the visiting group, Fantasma's group, uh, had their students were putting it out there that they needed to be the ones to play because their instruments or their playing was better. Now, there's interesting thing about the number three, because there's three masters, one of which is completely separate from the other two and kind of outside of the competition, so to speak. And there's three berimbauls or percussion instruments that run or control the actual roda when people are competing. They actually control the rhythm and what is done while people are competing. So there's something about the number three going on there. And there is also, let's see, there's a lot of notes here. For whatever reason, the dreamer was in a bad mood. Why is that? Was it because of this banter going on between the groups? Was it what was the issue, or was it just he got up on the wrong side of the bed and was just grumpy? What was the bad mood about? Is there something in waking life that is making the dreamer feel particularly grumpy but is not being expressed? There's also a possibility as well. This is kind of a smokestack, getting rid of unresolved feelings from the daytime. Um, were there other reasons other than what was going on at this competition that was causing an upset? And it was interesting that other people noticed that the dreamer was not his normal self, apparently, by not wanting to talk with anybody or associate with anyone, and they started to express concern. Now, was the dreamer just ignoring people? Was he just acting very withdrawn, and people noticed that he wasn't interacting with people? Was he just quieter than usual? What was going on there? And the people who noticed this mood, who were they? Were they people that were known to the dreamer, whether in waking life or in the dream, or were they were completely unknown? And if they were known in waking life, then what do they represent for the dreamer? And how did it make you feel that people were noticing and expressing their concern about your behavior, about your mood? Now, I had to. This is the interesting part for me, because I love music. And I used to be a DJ, a radio presenter myself, and I'm always willing to listen to music, even if it's artists that I don't know or the music is not familiar to me. And the dreamer decides to play a CD that was already in the CD player. And I wondered why. Was that to cover up his mood? Was it just to fill in the time in preparation for this roda that was supposed to take place? What was the purpose of putting on this CD? Now, as I said, I had to listen to this music to find out why it could possibly be relevant to the dream, because all elements of a dream, even the smallest ones, a color or lack of color, was there sound? Was it day? Was it night? Time of year? Or in this case, musical choices. You had two distinctly different types of music. You had the percussion and clapping and singing that comes with capoeira, and you have I don't know if you call Bjork's music indie or rock. I'm not sure how to define her music. I think it's beyond definition. But this was um, this makes part of it of how to break down and understand a dream. I mean, it's I use things like myths and legends, history, music, art, and then life experience to get an insight to a particular dreamer as a very dulcet inspiration as as a natural intuitive. But the music, the name of the music, as the dreamer said, was called Violently Happy. Now, that seems a contradiction in terms, but there you have it. And I'm going to quote a little bit of the lyrics for you in just a second. But I would ask the dreamer, why did the dreamer feel that this music was fitting for the moment at this capoeira roda? And what did this music actually evoke for the dreamer? So here it is. The part of the lyrics from the song Violently Happy by Bjork. So it says in these particular standards, I'm driving my car too fast with ecstatic music on. Violently happy, I'm getting too drunk. Violently happy, I'm daring people to jump off roofs with me. Only you can calm me down. Sitting too high, soothe me. Now, that's really evocative. We could go on all day with just that bit of that song, but I just wonder what was it about that song and those lyrics that appealed or to something within the dreamer, and he felt that it was fitting for the moment that he was in. So there you have it. You have your threes, you have your three instruments, you have your three masters. You have very different music styles and tastes, expressing very different things. And I wonder if there's the juxtaposition of these two different music styles may mean something in particular for the dreamer. But as I said, even short so-called little dreams are chock full of information, and I'm sure that as time goes on and the dreamer sits with these two dreams, that even more insights will come up, and his understanding of the dream will grow and change over time. So there you have it, my two dreams on my 20th episode of Crack the Code Thursdays. And again, if there's a dream that is really got you scratching your head or keeping you up at night, contact me. And the details are below, www.meetingwithsheila.com, and for some help and advice. Thanks so much for watching and listening. Have a fantastic evening and rest of the week, and I'll see you again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.